but what Nimesh was highlighting earlier, right? The Birla Group companies were all in focus, and for good reason. Nigel, you've done some work?
Well, that's right. All through the week, we heard a lot about that. So let me go across the ball and, detail that. The Birla Group companies, they made a comeback this week. All three of them, started with Hindalco. Then you had Grasim. And the third one was Vodafone Idea as well. So it was a fairly eventful week for all these three stocks. Let's start off with Hindalco first. It was in the news because they said that they're likely looking to list Novelis in the United States. So kabhi khushi kabhi gum, right? A couple of weeks ago, we had that painful news coming in that Novelis had upped their capex. This time around, they're saying that they could be looking at an IPO out there. So that was something that the street was looking at. A couple of questions remain unanswered, though. How much stake will they sell in Novelis? And why are they doing this? Why does Hindalco need the funds? So a couple of question marks continue to remain. What's the street's verdict, though? The street would have preferred if they did a fresh issue of shares rather than do an OFS. Why is that? Because if they do a fresh issue of shares, then Novelis will get the money, and Novelis needs the money, not Hindalco that comes here to India. Besides that, it may not be the most tax-efficient method because the one that needs the money is not really getting it, and it could also attract a holding company discount in the time to come. Besides that, you have an option. The FIs, well, they hold stake in Hindalco. They'll say, why do we own in Hindalco? We'll go and directly own Novelis. So that could be another point. And there's no big reason for the stock to re-rate from here. That was the brokerage verdict that came in, whether it was Nuvama or whether it was Inve as well. So that's about Hindalco. Next up, Grasim. They are forayed into paints. He says that in the next 3 years, well, they expected to do 10,000 and they expected to turn profitable as well. The street's verdict was, well, diversification is that's a core business. So paints is obviously a far more attractive sector. See benefit as well, and it's not very commoditized, it's more B2C. So those are all the positives. So the street likes what they see. Now, the problem is for Asian Paints, because it appears it's a case where David is taking on Goliath. Why is Asian Paints a little bit under pressure? Well, the industry itself is likely to see capacity addition of around 25%. Most of that will be Grasim. The remainder of that will be from Asian Paints itself because they're increasing capacity by 50%. Competition is being upped out here, whether it's JK, whether it is JSW Steel, Astral, Pidilite, all of them throwing their hat in there. And revenue growth for Asian Paints has slowed down in the past. And if they're going to make more gross margins, bulk of that will really pull out back into, into ad spends. So that could be a problem for them. And as it is, valuation-wise, not very, very cheap. And finally, Vodafone Idea. Towards the end of the week, you had comments that came in from Mr. Birla. He says that he expects, the focus continues to be on Vodafone Idea. They're looking at raising some funds as well. So it'll be interesting to see what is the quantum of funds, how much do the promoters participate, and how much can it deleverage their book. So all these three names, they came back, and Mr. Birla was in business all through the week. Vinay, let me come across to you. What's your view on these themes? Whether it's Novelis, Asian Paints is up for a bit of a challenge, or if you want to talk about Vodafone Idea as well.